Ladies and gentlemen, we are tuned in to the Rico Report.
I really don't know what to tell you.
That game was insane. Welcome to the Big Squad.
Shout out to the Big Squad.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Welcome to the Big Squad.
welcome on a very special evening to the Rico Report. We are here. He is our team. This is the Buffalo Fanatics. Bing, 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 bing. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Rico back at it again. Welcome to the Rico Report. I see my guy James. I see you. I saw the promise. From my guy James FX. He said, man, when Rico comes on live, I'm joining as a member. Bing, biggity, bing. Welcome back, my guy James FX90. What's good, my guy? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the BF, Buffalo Fanatics, the Rico Report. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I just dropped that new logo. You see that new logo? That's that alternate logo. You know what I mean? Every team has an alternate jersey, right? The home, the away. So I figured that I kind of roll out a little bit, let you guys know what's really good. Sheldon Cole, I see you, bruh. Welcome back to the Big Squad, baby. Let's go, man. Yo, we're starting the show hot. Ladies, welcome. Gentlemen, welcome. This is another edition of the Rico Report. We got a few things to talk about today, man. We got a few things to talk about today, and there are pressing topics. People are talking about them, but they're not really fixated too much on it because we're talking about the draft. A lot of people are diving deep into the draft, right? I'm not ready to dive too deep into the draft because we all know that free agency, whether we make a big splash or not, free agency is big because whatever we decide to do in free agency affects the way we go into the draft. So me sitting here talking about, oh, we want this corner back to, you know what I mean, the first, fam, if we go out and sign, I don't know, William Jackson, we go out and send Patrick Peterson, AJ Bouyer's around, like we go and do that, it changes the outlook of everything we're going to do. So I try not to dive right into it. But it's always fun to look into it. By the way, what y'all think of that, of the alternate logo? Let me bump that thing one more time, man. And at first I was like, but I'm like, you know what? That thing is clean and bold right in your face. So if you start seeing that logo, just know it's us. Just know it's the BF. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. And we've got quite a few things to talk about. But there's one thing that I do want to stress first before I get in here. Shout out to each and every one of you guys in here, because the off season it's a different beast, because, you know what I mean, most people are like, yo, I'll wait till the season starts. So they don't tune in as much, which is fine, right? Once free agency comes in, people start tuning in. Once the draft is there, people start coming in, and then absolutely when the season comes in, that's when it's on and popping. But for those that are tuned in and each every week, whether it's myself, whether it's the Bills guys, whether it's our guy Smoke Break, you know what I'm saying, Z-Bot, we appreciate it. We really do appreciate it. And our podcast, you guys are giving listens. Our writers are doing other big thing, man. So much appreciated. It doesn't go unnoticed. So I thank you guys for that. Now, I want to get into something real quick. My man Tillman says, yo, Rico, let me know who you want me to look up for grades, and I'll put them on here. So Run grades for Mango and D Williams. Run block, pass block. Those are the two that I wanted to look up real quick. Thank you, Tilt Money. So here's the deal. I want to play a clip for you guys real quick, and I want your thoughts on it because it's been bothering me a little bit. I wouldn't say bothering me, but it's been on my mind the last bit. And I wanted to kind of share it and talk about it. So you guys probably have seen it circulate, and it's the video of Cam Newton and this young man, this young buck, right?
You asked. You're a free agent. You're a free agent. You're a free agent. You about to be poor. I'm rich. You about to be poor. I'm rich. You about to be poor. I'm rich. You're a free agent. I'm rich. You're a free agent. I'm rich. He's a free agent. Where your daddy at? Let me talk to your dad. Let me talk to your dad. Where's your dad? You're a free agent. Where's your dad? You're a free agent. You're a free agent. You asked. Talk to. Let me. Where's your dad? Where's your?
So I'm not gonna play the whole thing, right? So 7-on-7 camp, for those that don't know, 7-on-7s are huge these days. This is where you can make a name for yourself, whether you're quarterback, receiver, DB. This is where you can make your name. 7-on-7s is getting way popular. I remember watching this documentary or series. Trent Dilfer was running this 7-on-7, and there was the Sam Darnolds and the Tuas and a whole bunch of quarterbacks that were part of that thing. Pretty lit. So you can make a name for yourself. And Cam, I guess, we're at a tournament. And Cam was walking by, and you know what I mean, somebody was chirping. Some little guy was chirping. I don't know, between the ages of 15 to 17. Who knows? A kid, right? And he's in front of his boys, and he sees Cam, so he wants to get a little shine. Anyway, so he keeps saying, "You ass, you this, you that." Cam, I like the way Cam handled it. I just didn't like the whole "I'm rich," right? You stunting on the little young man. I'm rich. I'm rich. I didn't like that too much. You know what I mean? Like the approach was. The end result was great, but the "I'm rich" part, I wasn't a big fan of, right? Now, for this young buck, he got tore up. He got dragged all over social media. And I felt for him because he was like, yo, I was just talking some shit. And I'm getting dragged out. Which you should, right? You don't talk to grown men like that, number one. Because you talk to grown men like that, you might get something upside your head, right? So the fact that he's around his boys, he felt that he could just say what he wanted. And some people know, man, you say what you want. Sometimes you can, but there comes a risk with saying what you want because you might get something upside your mouth. So I'm thinking to myself, all right, if you look at what's going on in society these days and all that good stuff, Cam at the end of the day handled it. He was like, yo, where's your dad? I'm not going to go back and forth with you. Where's your pops? Let me talk to your dad and let me see if your dad feels the same way. And now we can have a man-to-man talk. Now, I'm like, I hope it doesn't end there. I'm thinking, I hope this young man apologizes, which he did. And then I'm hoping that Cam came back to him and had a better conversation, which it did happen. So check this out.
Nah, ain't no disrespect. You know, if you wanted some attention, I'm gonna give you some attention. The right way, bro. The right way. When do y'all play?
We play tomorrow.
What was y'all record today then?
1-2. No, 2-1.
What did you do? No, I wasn't able to see because y'all was too.
Cameras on me.
All right, bro. What did he do, man? Does he play?
He got speed.
He got speed.
No, he's let him speed.
Oh.
You gonna see?
Huh?
You gonna see?
Nah, you ain't. Don't act shy, nah, bro. Don't act
I
shy.
right here.
I'm asking. I don't want to. I couldn't see today.
You gonna watch YouTube? Oh, you watch YouTube? I know you do. You gonna watch that
crops, man.
So here's the deal. This young man had an opportunity to kind of like, yo, you know what? Yo, I made a fool of myself earlier. Let me just pipe down a little bit. Hey, man, I'm just coming to you on some real shit. Like, yo, when do you guys play? All the conversation. You gonna see. Yo, fam. Yo, we're 2-1. Yo, my bad earlier, man. I wasn't meaning to talk to you like that. Rah, right on camera. It's over with. It's done. But he dug deep. You'll see us. Come on, man. Put that stuff aside, man. You got to put that stuff aside. When you have, and somebody had to point it out to me how great Cam Newton numbers are, right? And the rushing touchdowns, the passing yards, the MVP, the Rookie of the Year, the two-time AFC college champ. You know what I'm saying? Like the accolades this man has. You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna talk to him like that? Come on, man. I mean, I know there's chirping, and then there's humble yourself, young man. Humble yourself, and then we go from there. So yeah, I just wanted to jump on there. I see my man Tilt jumping with the numbers, which is great, Tilt. I appreciate that. So here's the deal. I want to get that out the way and then get into the Bills talk. And right now, there's conversation. And conversation right now is it's come to the point where when you start getting to the nitty-gritty, A, how much money we have in the bank, B, the moves we've got to make, right? And I talked about the cuts that we potentially can make to save some cash in order to make some moves in the offseason if we had to. Here's my deal here. We may not have the luxury to cut all these guys that we want to, because then we lose depth. We signed these guys for a reason to begin with. And I had to rethink this. Initially, you're like, yo, saving here, right? Because the way the contract was built, it was a matter of, if I want to get out, I can get out. That's the way Beane constructs his contracts. If I want to get out, I want to get out. Tilt Money, I appreciate that. I see you, kid. So here's the deal. We've got decisions to make in the O-line department. We really do. Left tackle, we know is solidified. D-Doc is the dude. That's my guy. Then you have left guard. People tend to forget about the left guard position because it's been a revolving door. Ever since Quentin Spain was surprisingly let go with his nonsense, we were revolving people out. Cody Ford gets in there, gets hurt. Ike Butker, and then just a revolving door. Ryan Bates sometimes we get it. So I'm saying, so it came to a point where, like, okay, so we have to remember that we have Cody Ford at left guard. So Cody Ford is going to have an opportunity to present himself at left guard and try to, I don't want to use the term redeem himself, but he's going to have to kind of show out at left guard, because right now he hasn't left us in a position to be like, I'm confident that Cody Ford's coming back. Because if somebody tells you that, they're lying. We almost have to talk ourselves back into Cody Ford, remembering that he was a second round draft grade and a second round pick. So we wanted him at right tackle. Clearly didn't work out. He's worked all the way over to the left side. So D-Doc, and then we have our guy, Cody Ford at left guard. All right. Center, Mitch Morse. Some people have a lot to say about Mitch Morse. Some people are like, yo, I want him back. Bring the whole group back. Some people are like, you know what? He's 1 or 2 concussions away from calling it a career. I don't want to say it, knock on wood. You don't want that for a player. You really don't. But Mitch Morse is going to be our center. A lot of folks are saying, you know what? Just bring the whole crew back. Bring the whole crew back. All right. You got right guard and John Feliciano, right tackle in Darryl Williams, both potentially accounting for $8 million each a year. You can go that route, but now you're cash strapped everywhere else if we don't make the necessary cuts that we need to make. All right. So that's one way to look at. By the way, shout out to my guy Ryan Teal, always showing love. Always. We appreciate your time. Let's effing go smash those likes. I appreciate that. Yo, if you guys are in here for the very first time, you guys have no idea who I am. My name is Rico. This is the Rico Report. Let's get into it. And I just gave you it's the Rico Report, and I'm not even cleaned up. Let me clean myself up real quick. Golly, shame on myself. So let's continue. When you see these things materializing, and you're like, okay, hold on a second. Do we keep both guys? Can we afford to keep both guys? Does it make sense to keep both guys? You'd love to. You'd love to bring the same 2 guys that protected our quarterback and kept him clean all season long. Here comes the challenge. Ryan Teal says, I feel like the O-line, I feel like it takes O-line 3 years to grow. And it can. Deion Dawkins is coming to his own, very much so. So it's definitely something that we need to look into. Dawkins is our best O-lineman overall, I would say. I 100% agree. That is our best lineman. There's no question about that. Andrew Miller says, thanks for the super chat, Andrew. Andrew says, we messed up cutting Spain Could have been Dawkins, Spain, Morse, Ford, Williams. Could have been. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. We are where we are right now. So let me get to the shits, right? We got to make a damn decision at right guard and right tackle. I can't see us bringing both these guys back. If they do, I'm surprised. I can't see us bringing both guys back because we have so many things to do on defense, and to shore up our defensive side. And with very little cash, we can't just pay everybody. We're about to potentially let Milano walk. So that goes to tell you that we just don't have the funds to retain everybody. So who does Brandon Beane value more? That is the real question. So I had my good man Dave Money Tilton. He gave me some footage to break down to you guys. If you look at the grades, and I hope you guys can see this very clearly on your screen. If not, let me see if I can blow that up. I don't know if I can or not. No, it's not going to let me. All is good. So if you look at Ike Butker, our guy at Butker, offensive grade was 65, right? Pass block at 59.3, run block at 68. Here comes John Feliciano. Pass block, 46.4. Run block, 76. Look at Brian Winters, 51 and 57. Better pass blocker than John Feliciano. Cody Ford, 48 and 56. So clearly problematic. John, now your pass blocking grade isn't great, but your run blocking is at 76. So fair grade. So now I'm wondering to myself, hold on a second. Cody Ford's coming back. They're going to give him another opportunity. He's been moved around too often. Too much for my liking for him to really get comfortable in one place. So now it makes you wonder, okay, hold on now. What are we doing? Where do we value? Where do we put the value? Let's go to right tackle. How did Dawkins fare? Dawkins had an offensive grade of 80.6, 79.2 pass block, 75.1 in run block. I'll take it. Tyne Seke, run block 89.9 with the very little snaps that he got, 62.5, 62.4, and pass block. Darryl Williams, look at this. Pass block at 80.1, run block at 74.6. Ryan Bates, look at Ryan Bates. Pass block at 91.4 and 72. I think he's undervalued, in my opinion. Now, here's the deal. If you're going to bring one of those guys back, who are you bringing back? And I'm going to put you guys in a tough position. Who are you bringing back? John Feliciano has a great relationship with our quarterback. John Feliciano is also very versatile. He can go from right guard and swap over to center. Blink of a dime, just like that. And we didn't lose a beat. We didn't miss a beat. Darryl Williams, on the other hand, was solid all year long. Do you remember TJ Watt? TJ Watt is one of the best pass rushers in the game. When Darryl Williams had something to say about it, there was nothing. Darryl Williams locked that boy down. No sacks. Very little pressure. Darryl Williams, to me, sounds like the best bet at almost the market value for him is at $8 million, $7.8 million. You got to bring him back, right? My man Tilt Money says, yo, Wyatt Teller, #1 overall guard per PFF. Golly. Wyatt Teller. Y'all remember Wyatt Teller? Cut Feliciano, no question here. But do you cut one of your best guys? Meaning running the ball and run blocking? Because that's what he does best. But we need guys that can kind of do both in order for us to be successful running the ball and keeping Josh Allen clean. The great thing about having a guy like Josh Allen is he's mobile. If something breaks down, he's out. He's rolling out. He's rolling out right. How many times did we see him roll out right? Was it because guard Brian Winters couldn't hold a glass? Or the run block grade of 46 from Feliciano just wasn't cutting it? Fam, that can't happen, man. Feliciano's got to be better on both ends. So if I'm looking at it from a great perspective, Darryl Williams is the no question guy that you bring back. Now you have a hole at right guard. That's one way of looking at it. Here's the other way. There's speculation. I wouldn't say the speculation, but there's some people that are okay with this way of thinking. Mitch Morse. Let's go back. Let's bring it back to Mitch Morse. Mitch Morse, our very highly paid center. We can restructure Mitch Morse right now. We save a couple dollars. Right? We also risk Mitch Morse potentially getting hit in camp or whatever, concussed. And you don't mess with his concussions. These concussions are not a game to play with. So do we pull a Bill Belichick and move on from a player before it's time, right? Before their time is up? Do we get out of it quickly? Because now getting out of it quickly, now you move Feliciano to center because we didn't miss a beat too much at center. It gives us an animal at center in terms of run block. And we go from there. Now you still have a hole at right guard. Now you can actually have some savings with Mitch Morse gone. Bring my man over to center in Feliciano. Bring back our right tackle in Darryl Williams. And now we have the draft or free agency to pick up a guy like, I don't know, Brandon Sheriff or whatever. Cost is going to be high, but at least we solidify the run and pass blocking portion of the game. I don't quite like that one. Keep Mitch Morse where he's at. It's a decision now between Feliciano and Darryl Williams. I'm bringing back Darryl Williams, man. Darryl Williams has earned his way. He's earned his keep. He's earned it. He was part of the mid-season all PFF block team. You got to bring back your right tackle. Solidify the right hand, the front side, solidify the back side, and then we can work in and find somebody at guard. I don't like the whole cutting of Mitch Morse, but it's definitely conversation. It's definitely conversation, and you can't not have that conversation. So I'm going to leave that question to you guys. Where do you think Beane? Now, this is where we value, but where do you think Beane values his guards? Where do you think he values his right tackle? Tilt Money says you can find a guard with center flex in free agent or the draft. You absolutely can. So Tilt Money is all about Darryl Williams. My guy Tilt Money. Spins go, Feliciano is not a center. He definitely is not. But he filled in admirably when Mitch Morse had to be out 3 or 4 games. Patrick Guerra says pass blocking can be improved, both reliable. With a proper offseason and some new schemes or some altered schemes, maybe. Tilt's like, you can find guards. Only the reason you can find guards. The only reason to keep is the center flex and the relationship with JA. Absolutely. When it comes to making an argument for keeping John Feliciano, it is the versatility and it is the relationship he's got with his quarterback. But man, Darryl Williams was solid this year. How do you ignore that? So for me, I'm keeping Williams 100%. If I have to make a decision on John Feliciano and him going, he's got to go. He's got to go. Now, one thing that we have to keep in mind as well. When you're making all these moves, you're making these moves, A, for reasons to keep Josh Allen clean, and B, to get that damn run game going. I'm going to get into the run game in just a little bit. But my goodness, we have to do something with that O-line. I said it before, I'm going to say it again. If we're going to do something with this O-line, fix it. Keep the running backs in the back. Fix this O-line. If you're bringing everybody back, then you got to do something with the running backs in the backfield. You can't bring everybody back and expect the same some better results. It's just not going to happen. Just not. Shout out to Steve Rose says, yo, Darryl Williams, i.e. shoring up the right tackle is much more important than keeping Feliciano. whom, although I like his attitude, he was average at best. There's no wrong way to look at it. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Jackie Jarrett says, according to per Next Gen Stats, the Bills had the 4th best pass block win rate and the 26th best run block with the rate this past season. So where is it that we have to improve? The guard position, right? The amount of runs that we had inside run schemes that we had this year, you need your guards to be maulers and get up in there. Cody Ford needs to get better. Needs to get better. Let's go back to it. I want to see what Cody Ford's run grade was. Going right back to it. Cody Ford. So looking at Cody Ford, his pass block was 48 and his run block was 56. Yeesh. That's rough to look at. That's rough, man. I keep telling y'all, man, Cody Ford is a borderline, and I hate to say this, but he's a borderline bust for me, man. He needs to step up this year. This year is his year to step up. He must. You're going back to left guard or right guard, wherever they want to put you. You need to get better. You need to. Golly, man. JC Transport. Salute to you, man. Salute. He says, I think Feliciano played all year with one arm, plus he's nasty as a guard protection of QB is needed. 76, 73. The others care less about their QB. I'd rather have the nastiness. Yeah, but the nastiness doesn't portray. Right? 46 pass grade? Dude. No wonder my man was rolling out right all day. Come on now. Till Money says, yo, I'm tired of the versatility if the player is a replacement level. Oh, there's my guy. Yo, come talk on it. Come talk on it. You wanted nothing to do with it, so you might as well. Till Money.
What's up, man?
Talk to me.
Yeah. All right. Here's the thing. Okay.
You were itching. You're like, I'm not doing this.
This is a topic I feel strongly about. Okay. The versatility is important. I'm not trying to discount that. Right. My point being is that your backups can be versatile, right? Like a Ty Seki who can play both tackle positions. I'm fine with that. Let him be the swing tackle backup. Let a guy like Butker who can play both guard positions be the backup. But I want to, if that means that we're sacrificing a stud starter just because a guy is versatile and we want him to play, then to me that's not worth it. Like this was the conversation we had, even when we drafted Cody Ford. Like, did we want to draft a guy like Cody Ford who maybe was like tackle guard flex, or would we rather have a guy like a Dalton Reisner who I liked in the draft who was like going to be a stud right tackle?
Yeah.
Like give me the stud at a position of need and let your backups be the ones that can kind of mix and match, and then that way you're kind of good with your starters. They're all studs, and then you're good no matter what happens. If a starter goes down, your backups are flexible. So that's my philosophy on the O-line. Like, that's fine if like one of your starting guards, like Feliciano in this case, can play center. But if he's not a really good guard, and just because he can play center, is it worth it then to keep him? Like, no, it's not for me.
So you're not even thinking twice about this. You're going Darryl Williams. That's it.
Well, here's can in theory bring both of them back, right? Because we're thinking that Milano's likely going to be gone anyway. It doesn't sound like he's going to be back. So if Milano's gone and you just tender the guys that you have and you bring back guys like Isaiah McKenzie and, you bring other guys back on cheap deals like Matt Barkley for cheap deals, your backup quarterback, you bring back maybe Andre Roberts on a cheap deal, then in theory, you could bring both Feliciano and Williams back for the money that you aren't spending on Milano, but it also probably means you're not bringing in a guy like a JJ Watt on top of that. So you kind of have to decide what you want to do. Like, I think that if you bring both of those guys back, probably JJ Watt or Von Miller or someone like that's probably a question. And you're trying to find an edge guy through the draft. That's just kind of how I see it.
Yes. And this is where we're going to go into, because when you're making a decision here, you're either going between bringing both guys back or one guy back, which gives you now versatility now to do what you need to do on defense. And that was where we're going to go with it. So now that you're here, I do want to get your thoughts on this. So when you have someone like Cody Ford that is still raw, he's been moved around all over the place, so he's never found a home. So what can you consider him depth would you go as far as saying, you know what? We've seen what we need to see. You're just going to be our depth guy. And if you can get better, get better. But we're going to draft someone or we're going to bring someone that can just take over at left guard.
I think they're going to give him a shot to play left guard. I really do. I think that given where they drafted him, the capital, not just that they drafted him in the second round, but the fact that they did trade up to draft him in the second round, leads me to believe that they're going to give him every opportunity to start at left guard and that will give them flexibility for the rest of free agency in the draft. Because in my mind, if you're the Bills, you give Cody Ford a chance to prove that he can play one. And I think that position probably is left guard. He's had a set of circumstances, I'd say, and he's still a young player, only going into his third year, that it's too early to pull the plug on him. Now, what I will say is that doesn't mean that come training camp, he's not going to be in a battle, let's say, with a guy like a Ike Bucker or Ryan Bates to start. But I think he will be given every opportunity to start. And then if the Bills do draft as they should, and if the Bills do draft a guy like a Wyatt Davis or Harmon Jackson who can play inside, like to play right guard, assuming Feliciano's not back, then who knows what happens, how it shakes out, right? But I think what they'll do is they'll give him every opportunity to play left guard, would be my guess. And then the Bills will find either a right guard through free agency or the draft, assuming they don't bring back Feliciano.
Have you been seeing these conversations come up where people are now mentioning Mitch Morse not being part of the team? I've seen it. And
I think Pierre's into that. I think
Pierre has been one of many.
I'm not trying to like put Pierre on blast specifically, but I know like in our own internal conversations, the BF chat, like Pierre is kind of pro Feliciano at center, right? And I'm not, right? I am all about bringing Mitch Morse back. Now, you do need to have a contingency plan for center.
Sure.
But I don't think that contingency plan is paying John Feliciano $8 million a year
Absolutely
to be a serviceable guard and a backup center. I'd rather draft like a Landon Dickerson who has guard center flex, or I'd rather find a guy like Steve mentioned, like Blythe in free agency, who's going to be probably cheaper than Feliciano, who has guard center flex. There are options out there. Like, let's not forget how we got Feliciano. He was a bargain bin signing we got him, and it turned out that he played better than his contract. Okay. So those guys are to be had out there. You can find them.
So now here's the thing. And this is where I think we get challenged. We as fans, we know what we want. We want this, and you should do this and move around. But Beane is thinking completely different. We thought, or I'll speak for myself. I thought, Trent Murphy's as good as gone. They're not going to bring him back. Mm-hmm. Beane was like, no, we're keeping him. Right? So what do you think Beane is thinking? Take tilt money out of this. What does Beane do in this situation? Is he bringing both these guys back saying, you know what? I saw the success we've had with this group. I think we can bring them all back and let's run it back again. Or I didn't like that. There's some tweaks that we can make. So what do you put your mind in Beane's mind, and what do you think he does with this O-line?
I think if Beane looks at the free agency class and he looks at, guys like, hey, I'm not really a big fan of guys like Chris Reed, or I'm not a big fan of guys like Forrest Lamp in the free agent market as guards, and I really truly believe that John Feliciano is the best option for us at guard, then he'll say, okay, that's step one. And then step two, do I want to invest early draft capital on interior offensive line? And if his answer to both of those questions is no, then you probably will see John Feliciano back and they'll run it back.
Oh boy.
I think if the answer to either one of those questions is yes, either or, then no. Because we have to remember, like you said at the beginning of the show, we are talking about the draft now, but this is all sequenced, right? You got to go through free agency first, and then 100%. It's the draft. So maybe Beane saying like, I'm going to go after, maybe sitting there saying, I'm going to go after like a Michael Schofield or a Chris Reed or a DJ Fluker for like 1 year as like plan A. And if plan A doesn't work, then my plan B is to go to the draft and find somebody. But my plan, 0 or before A never include John Feliciano in it. So I would imagine that things like John Feliciano kind of being the guy with the attitude or the relationship with Josh Allen or whatever is not going to matter as much to Brandon Beane when he looks at the level of play of the offensive line. And he's as much, right? And is at the end of the years, the offensive line didn't play well. He even specifically said the problem, and we kind of had that conversation multiple times. So he's going to look at this offensive line long and hard and figure out like where it needs to be improved. And it's no secret that that interior of that offensive line from a run blocking standpoint is really what was the issue in 2020, in my opinion.
I was really interested to see what the run block grade for Mitch Morse is. I'm curious because
I'll pull it up.
because my eyes tell me not great. Average at best when it comes to run blocking. Pass blocking, fantastic. Those are what my eyes tell me.
He was the number 20. He was the number 21 overall center, so not great from an investment standpoint. From just that, pass blocking 1.1, run blocking 59.6 on snaps.
Sorry, you said run blocking 59.6.
Yeah,
and what was his pass blocking?
71.1 overall, 63.3. The number 21 overall center.
Do we get our money back with Mitch Morse? Can you understand why most people are like, well,
but I would say we did in 2019, but we didn't in 2020. That's the funny thing. I think in 2019 he was pretty good. In 2020, the injuries maybe had something to do with that, but it's tough, right? It's like you want the guy that you're paying as like one of the top paid centers in the league to be the model of consistency.
So now you may understand where people are saying, well, hold on a second.
I mean, I get where I'm not ready to go.
You're not ready to go there, which is fine, which is okay. I think a lot of times people pencil in Mitch Morse and keep him there based on name and what he did back in the day 3-4 years ago when he was with Kansas City, never allowed a sack, and that still is around his name. But this business is a what have you done for me lately? And right now, this past year is what people are remembering. Nothing fantastic. And from my eyes, he didn't give me impressions that like, man, that's a badass center. We need to keep him. It makes us the minute you start questioning your center, now you're wondering. Now, can you pull a Bill Belichick and say, you know what? I think I'm gonna move you right now because I don't see better days ahead. Could that be something that McDermott and Beane consider?
They would,
if you're shuffling this line.
They would maybe consider it in any other year, but given that I think they'll still have to pay him at least this year the guaranteed money he's owed against the cap. I believe that's how it works.
Yeah.
That I don't know how much in real savings you're really going to get. Let me see what his guaranteed money is for this year, but I'll
tell you right now, with if you restructure him, you're saving $3 million. If you restructure $3 million, there's some things you can do with that.
All right, so it's 2021 bonuses, which are basically his guaranteed money, look like it's about like $3.5 million. So you would still, I think, be on the hook for that. In real cash, I think you'd save the base salary, right, which is the $7 million. So someone can fact check me on that. I believe that's how it works. So yeah, they could, but then again, you'd have to go back to the free agent market and see like, is there a center out there that we're willing to pay? Or are we just going to kind of
that's where it comes down to
in the meantime, and then go to the draft again, try to find, because like I feel like you're still kind of in the same situation. And if you move Mitch Morse, then you pretty much have to bring back Feliciano and Darryl Williams. I think.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you have to. And then you find like a guard or a tackle in the draft to maybe just bring in as like a long-term option. But I don't love that option, honestly. I really don't.
All right. Now we're gonna switch gears. If you want to stick around, you can. We're gonna switch gears. Are you ready for the gear switch? We're switching lanes now.
Let's switch. Okay.
You ready for it? So here's the deal. We look at the O-line and we kind of figured out, okay, hold on. If we're going to make a decision, we're keeping right tackle Darryl Williams, Feliciano potentially got to go. We'll keep Mitch Morse for the time being. We'll fill in right guard, whether free agency or whether through draft. Let's go back into the backfield. We've got Devin Singletary that had a kind of year. right? For podcast use, he didn't have a fantastic year. He didn't bring it back like he did his rookie year. Let's put it that way. Then you have Zach Moss, which are third round pick, and really didn't really stand out to us as much as we wanted him to. Mm-hmm. So, are you okay with bringing these two right back and say you guys, Moss in his second year, the game will probably slow down for you. Let's go. Or are we looking into the draft to bring another running back in?
I think it's totally possible that we are looking to the draft to bring a running back in, but I don't think it's going to be of the first round variety. I don't think you're going to see the Bills go after an ETN or a Najee Harris. Like, that's just my personal belief, right? Mm-hmm. The track record would say the Bills, like, mid-round running backs or bargain bin free agent running backs. We're a pass-heavy team. Now the question becomes, were we pass-heavy because we didn't like our running backs, or were we pass-heavy by design and the running backs aren't as important? I would like to bring in through the draft a more complementary type back that has some speed, like a Kenny Gainwell or someone like that, or even maybe like a Jerick McKinnon, who's like battled injuries over the years through free agency. Some with speed, but I don't think it's going to be. I personally wouldn't invest super early round draft capital on a running back. The times you do that are when you are really confident in your offensive line and you feel like you are lacking in the running game purely because you don't have the superstar and you're like ready to make that run for the Super Bowl with an already good offensive line intact. And I don't think the Bills have that yet. So to me, it would be a little backwards. Now, good running backs can mask deficiencies in offensive line. So let's not pretend that can't happen.
Okay, I was about to say, there you go.
Adrian Peterson did it for a number of years in Minnesota when they didn't have very good offensive lines. He was still getting the job done. I mean, it's happened plenty of times, right? Sanders with the Lions. Like, you're telling me like those offensive lines he was running behind were that good? No, they weren't that good. But you need like transcendent type talent to have that happen consistently from the running back position. So for me, address the O-line, I actually like what I saw from Zach Moss this year and the chances he did get to play. Singletary was underwhelming, still led the team in rushing, but I don't know, man. It's tough to invest that early in a running back when you have so many questions in the offensive line.
See, I had to like check myself because I get excited about the running back position. I mean, you have your moments where you're like, with Rico, I got to talk to you about this O-line because I care. I want to talk to you about this. The running back position, that's one thing I care about a lot. And when I look at what Devin Singletary wasn't able to do this year, not all his fault because our guard play wasn't the greatest. So it was very difficult to try to find a hole here and there. Now, when I look at Zach Moss, and I'm like, man, what is Zach Moss missing? Or what is it that I want in a running back? So I started kind of going through draft prospects that are coming out. I like this North Carolina running back, Javonte Williams. Mm-hmm. Yep. Like him a lot. Yep. 5'10", 220, explosive. You can't bring him down one time. Then I'm like, hold on a second. 5'10", 220. We have that in our backfield right now in Zach Moss. Yep. The typical back that in terms of stature that I like. So I'm like, are we giving up too soon on a guy like Zach Moss? Going to his second year, dude, we need to see a lot more. Now, there were some deficiencies from Zach Moss. Can he get around the bend? I haven't seen enough. I think he can. I've seen it collegiately. He should be able to do it in the NFL. So if you do bring in another running back, are you bringing in someone like a Gaineswell that can catch out of the backfield? Do you like that? Or Felton? I know a lot of people are talking about this Felton cat out of UCLA. Mm-hmm. Or do you run it back with the two same backs that we have right now, bring Antonio Williams in there and just correct the O-line and then go with what we were supposed to do last year is inside running game and get it going?
The thing to me that we liked with Singletary his rookie year was his ability to make people miss in tight spaces, right? We liked that. We saw less of that probably this year. He did have his moments. I want a guy like, to me, Zach Moss and Devin Singletary aren't too different in my opinion. They're not that much different from a stylistic standpoint. Like Singletary can run between the tackles. We know that. I mean, he's a little bit smaller in stature than Zach Moss, fine. But there is some overlap there. Zach Moss, honestly, probably the better receiver out of the backfield than Devin Singletary was as well. And let's not forget, like you talking about Javonte Williams, Zach Moss had a very decorated collegiate career as well at Utah. So it's you can't forget about that either, right? So I want the speed. I want the home run threat. I want the guy that's going to come in and maybe he plays a game 15 that you don't have to invest a ton of money or draft capital in, but that can do little things for you. Maybe replace some of what McKenzie does if McKenzie doesn't come back. Maybe replace what TJ Yeldon could do out of the backfield to a better extent by having more speed and being more of a home run threat. So like that was Darrington Evans last year, who I really liked from App State. Like to me, Kenny Gainwell is the guy like this year who do that for the Bills. I want something that's different. I don't want so much redundancy in my backs. You know what I mean?
I totally get it.
Antonio Williams is redundant with Zach Moss from what I've seen as far as like his style of running. So
very similar, but he gave me explosion, but that was a small sample size in that Dolphins game, so I can't go too much off of that. Lucas Alonzi says, do we have enough money if we wanted to sign most players and then sign JJ Watt and Von Miller? The answer is no, sir. Those two gentlemen alone are going to cost a good chunk of money. We will not be able to afford everyone that we want back on our own roster. On top of that, have JJ Watt and Von Miller. If we were able to do that, I don't know what kind of sorcery Beane would be working, but I just can't see it happening. It's just not going to happen at all.
That only happens if guys like, well, he said sign all of our own. Is that what he said?
Yeah, let me go back to it. I believe he said, let me put that there. He says, do we have enough money if we sign most players and then sign JJ Watt?
If you say sign our UFAs, then sure, but that would also require you cutting guys like Addison, Vernon Butler, John Brown. Those guys would have to be gone, right? I mean, they're just, are restructured. So as the UFAs, if you want to try to bring like Milano, Darryl Williams, and John Feliciano and bring in JJ Watt and not restructure John Brown, that's just, I don't think it's going to work. Yeah, I just don't think it's going to work.
I get it. Now, we're gonna switch lanes a little bit. We're gonna go back. We're gonna go to the defense. Are you still good? Because I like the fact you came on impromptu. Loved it. I saw that because you're passionate about it. If you do have to attend to the baby, I do understand. By the way, congratulations. By the way,
she's sleeping right now, so I'm good until she wakes up, I think.
Okay. Are you on daddy duty as we speak?
My wife is sleeping right now, so is the baby. So I'm kind of like I'm on like hall patrol right now, making
there you
sure,
go.
Like. Yeah, making sure.
Gotcha. I've been there, done that. I totally get it. This is your alone time, but I get it. Lucas Alazzi comes back and says, yes, I totally agree, but could we sign one of them? We absolutely can sign one of them. We just have to make certain moves now, which brings me to our next lane. And this is what I was going to talk to. We're looking at defense and the offense. Offense did their job. Number 2 scoring offense in the league. Josh Allen had a phenomenal year. I read something to the nature of Josh Allen in his third year, compared to every other quarterback in their third year, he was top 5 in a lot of the categories. First place, just nuts. He had a great year. Now, switching over to the defensive side of the ball now. If we have to make some moves to bring in the likes of a JJ Watt, Von Miller. I don't know if Von Miller quite fits what we're trying to do on our defense, but JJ Watt, on the other hand, does. Obviously, it'd be great if we can bring JJ Watt. But I was under the impression that maybe we could just cut this guy. I'm like, hold on a second. We're not left with a lot of depth if we start moving all these pieces. If we do have to move pieces or retain, let's just say with move, who would you have to move on that defensive front in order to bring in a Von Miller? But not Von Miller, JJ Watt, but still remain competitive and still have depth on the line.
Well, I think you can really accomplish it. I think you can really accomplish it by getting rid of 2 guys only, and that's Martin and Vernon Butler. I think you keep Quentin Jefferson. I think, you take your medicine on Mario Addison. Didn't live up to, what you signed him for. There's a good cap savings if you get rid of him. Same for Vernon Butler, and you can bring in a JJ Watt. Now, JJ Watt is essentially a replacement for Mario Addison, right? And then at that point, really, you're only talking about, tech defensive tackle that you're thinking like, okay, maybe we don't have a ton of depth there now, but you also have to remember that Star's coming back. So, that's essentially like you're getting a free agent without actually having to go out to the market and bring them in. So you're
I'm
getting
with you.
Star back. So if you think about that, guy didn't have this year in JJ Watt and Star, and then two guys to get rid of, Vernon Butler and Mario Addison. In my mind, like you don't lose any depth, really. In fact, you improve your overall line. You move guys like Epinesa and Quentin Jefferson stay as depth pieces.
Yep.
Guys like Harrison Phillips go back to being depth pieces. Still there. So you've got that line of Watt, Oliver, Star, back, and Hughes, and then you've got your depth of Epinesa, Jefferson, Phillips, Zimmer, and you're not in too bad a shape. Honestly,
You're not too bad a shape.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so JJ Watt, I asked this question on Twitter, and I want to know, objectively speaking, let's see how you answer this. JJ Watt obviously has not made a decision yet, and he's got quite a few suitors out there for him. Cleveland being one of them. I've seen him potentially tied to the Bucks, to the Rams, obviously to the Bills. Where does he fit best, would you say? And where would he choose to play alongside of? You go to the Bucks, you're playing alongside of guys like Devin White. You go to the Rams, you're next to freaking Aaron Donald. And I don't know how they do it over there in the Rams, but they find ways to make money and move things around. It's craziness. Objectively speaking, where would he want to go?
Well, from a fit perspective, you think about what he played traditionally. He's really a traditional 4-3 defensive end. So if you think about the Rams, they play a 3-4. Morgan Fox, if they think JJ Watt in and play a 3-4 end, which he did at times with Romeo Crennel's defense, obviously in Houston they did, but he's more of a 4-3 end. So the Rams could be a fit, right? If they have guys like Donald playing the nose tackle, and then they've got Watt as a 3-4 end on one side, and whoever they have on the other end,
right?
Potentially a fit. The Bucks would be a fit. Todd Bowles kind of mixed up his defense this past year. He, again, was more of a 3-4 guy, but he catered his guys, and Todd Bowles showed willingness to kind of cater. He had APP on one end, so they fit JJ Watt on the other side of JPP if they need to. And honestly, if he's going raw and the Bucks kind of can go run it back with Brady again and the like, depends what happens. Like Chris Godwin's a free agent for them. They have other free agents like Stu, but they're largely going to have their main roster back again next year. So if I'm JJ Watt, I would seriously consider the Bucks. Also, the fact is there's no state income tax in Florida,
right?
So your salary from that standpoint is going to be benefited. From the standpoint of the Bills, objectively, it's a great fit from a scheme perspective. Come in, play 4-3 end. He's going to be opposite of Jerry Hughes. He's going to have a chance to get after the quarterback. He may not have to play 100% of snaps. He could play. He can be fresh. We have that rotation. And on the surface, it looks like a solid team to join, a team can make another run deep into the playoffs next year. So I think all three of those objectively are good options. I saw people throwing out like the Browns and the Bears.
The Tennessee Titans.
I mean, the Titans maybe. But again, they run 3-4 mostly. So again, he would have to play 3-4 end in that defense. But again, the Titans, they experimented with Clowney.
Yeah.
Clowney more of a 4-3 end. It didn't work out for them. Would they be willing to experiment again with a Watt? Maybe so. The Titans defense wasn't, the issue wasn't really their upfront defense. It was more their back end, their pass D. So I don't know. Like that's a tough one because you go back and you say, well, maybe JJ Watt wants to stick it to the Texans twice a year. That'd be a huge factor for him, but that's a division, at least, that on this looks like, Tennessee has a legitimate chance to kind of, be there at the end. Indy's good. And Houston may be back with if Deshaun State, like you can't predict that division. Like the divisions that look like the best situation for JJ Watt is probably the AFC East with the Bills and the NFC South, as much as I hate to say that, because Matt Ryan is older. We don't know what's going on with Drew Brees. Like I know the Saints were still really good, but the Bucks got it done, man, and they
They
beat the
did.
Saints. So the Rams is a tough one because that division is going to be tough again next year. And
I mean,
but
let's not
Stafford's there now, so
right.
he
And let's not forget his 3 considerations is quarterback 1, personnel 2, money 3. I mean, he's made enough money in his lifetime where a couple mil here and there is not gonna.
And that to me would eliminate Tennessee, right? If I like Tannehill.
Yeah.
I like Tannehill. He's not a bad quarterback. But if you're talking about quarterbacks, you're looking at like Josh Allen, Tom Brady, and Matt Stafford. Those all 3 of those guys got to be ahead of Tannehill, right?
100%. 100%. So and it's just I've seen it because it's the Vrabel connection. It's that Vrabel connection. That's why they tried to put 2 and 2 together. To me,
fair. I mean, it's fair. But
if quarterback
Steelers with the brother thing, it's like okay, but like
do they have the money for that? Do you trust Roethlisberger enough? I mean, a whole bunch of those things come into play. So I was curious to see where you thought, putting your Bills fandom aside, where would be the best fit for JJ Watt.
I think the Bills and Tampa are the 2 best fits for him, though. Like on the surface, I'm gonna
agree with you because I'm sure if they really, I mean, you're playing with Tom Brady, for crying out loud. You get to play with a legend, number 2, and a defense that's just won one that want to run it back for sure and have a lot of feistiness on that team. So JJ Watt to the Bucks does make sense, but the Bills, it does make sense, man. The only thing I question is, does he feel that we have the personnel defensively that he feels okay, this is good enough? I mean, if you think about it, listen, we have a great tandem in safety. We have a great cornerback in Trey White. We're working on getting that cornerback 2 to lock it down. We have a young linebacker in Tremaine Edmonds. Does he feel like maybe Tremaine Edmonds doesn't have it? Who knows? Jerry Hughes and Oliver, does he see enough value in those guys to say, you know what? Yes, I can play against those guys.
I mean, he has to when he looks at what he's coming from. The Texans defense was terrible, man. I mean, yes, he played with some good players. McKinney was a good player. There's been some good corners there over the years with Roby and the like, and obviously Clowney was there for a bit. Merciless, but the personnel is night and day, even with the Bills kind of being down last year in defense. Like, to me, the Bills' defensive personnel is way better than Houston's.
I like it, and he's got the opportunity now to be picky choosy, right? He didn't get a chance to be picky choosy with who his teammates were with the Texans. I mean, that was just a show in itself. So before I let you go, because I want you to have your moments, because I know these moments are nice to just have a quiet time without noise and children. So I totally get it.
I'm working on my draft stuff right now.
Oh yeah. There you go. Okay. And you're the draft. You're the draft guru. Now, which brings me into something that you and I both totally agree with. Freaking Zaven Collins, dude. That dude is top notch. And the fact that I don't see him within the top 15 to top 20 is insane to me. I've seen him mock.
He's right there. I think he's about number 19 on TDN's predictive board right now.
Golly.
Let me see. I'll check it right now. He's number 24 right now on their prospect ranking.
24. So, if for somehow, one way or another, if the Bills can land him, and I think I caught this part of the show last night with you and my man Steve.
He's up to 17 now on their rankings.
Is he okay? So he's moving up the rankings. I totally see him moving up the rankings. So I'm not even going to go too much because I don't want to spend too much time on that. What I initially wanted to get to you was this: Milano leaves. Now you have Edmonds as your main backer. Looking at free agency and looking into the draft, what complementary linebacker are you bringing? Are you bringing in one that gave you what Milano gave you? Something similar? Or are you bringing in a true, I don't want to call it a true, but I'll use those words anyway, a true thumper middle linebacker and allow now Tremaine Edmonds to be that off-ball type linebacker?
I think that if you're the Bills, you're probably bringing in someone to replace Milano, but I don't necessarily know that means that they necessarily have to have the same exact characteristics as a Milano. For example, like if you say, okay, Matt Milano, we want to replace everything that he did and that's it, right? We want to place his ability in pass coverage, but we're not really worried about whether or not that weak side linebacker can rush the passer or play really that well against the run. That that points you into certain directions in the draft or in free agency, right? In the draft, that points you to a guy like a Jabril Cox, right? If you're really just purely trying to replace Milano's pass coverage acumen and not too worried about run defense and rushing the passer, you go after a guy like a Jabril Cox or like a Kevin Pierce from Washington in free agency, right, as a cheaper option. But if you're saying we are going to replace Milano, and we're going to leave Tremaine in the middle as kind of that thumper, but we want replacement of Milano to do something a little bit different. We want him to be more of a pass rusher. We want him to be more of a very shallow zone coverage type backer and not worry so much about, covering too far into like deep zones or whatever. Then maybe you go after a guy like a Zaven Collins, who on the surface maybe doesn't appear to be like as a replacement for a Milano from a scheme perspective, but from a talent perspective and from what he can bring you as a rusher, maybe who cares? And you say, maybe we say who cares, and we say maybe Zaven Collins is going to play the strong side, and we'll just figure out what to do with AJ Klein. So it just depends on kind of what skill sets they want to place from Milano. If they purely want to replace what he did, then you go for a guy like a Jabril Cox. If you want some print brought to the table, then you go for a guy like a Zaven Collins or a Nick Bolton.
I like that. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about Jabril Cox. I need to do more homework on him. I'm not. He doesn't pop off screen for me. Looks undersized. When I say undersized, stature is not. But sorry, plays like he's just lightweight. But I'm gonna do more homework before I even say I don't like.
He's not a good run defender. I point blank tell you he's not great in run defense.
He didn't look like it to me.
But neither was Milano. So that's what I'm saying. If you're just trying to replace that kind of coverage ability and that speed sideline to sideline as a coverage backer, and that's all you're trying to do, he could be a guy to do that for you.
Okay. Before I let you go, I can't let you leave without playing the Rico games here, man. So we're gonna play a game called 2 Words. You ready for this? You know how this thing works out. All right. I'm gonna give you a moment to collect yourself, and I'm going to shoot out names to you. The two words that come to your mind the first to describe whoever player that I decide to bring you. Are you ready for that, man? Sir?
Okay, I'm ready. Yeah.
Ready. I'm going to give you time to collect yourself. You look nervous.
I'm good, man.
You're good. Are you ready for it? Here we go.
It's all good.
Here we go. Mitch Morse.
Finesse and worrisome.
Finesse and worrisome. By the way, the way 2 Words works is you don't have time to think. You got to bang bang. All right. So
yeah, all right.
you might trip over your tongue. Hey, you got to say what you say. Say it with your chest. All right. You ready for it?
All right. All right.
Mario Addison.
Cut. Overrated.
Nice. Starla Tulele.
Welcome back. 2 words right there for you.
John Brown.
Keep him.
Yeah, nice. Well played. Keep him. Okay. We're going to talk on that after that. Okay. Q Jefferson.
Restructured contract.
Vernon Butler.
Bye-bye.
Lee Smith.
Retirement home.
Nice. Well played. Tyler Matakevich.
Cap casualty.
AJ Klein.
Damn it. Damn it. I don't. AJ Klein. Come back to AJ Klein.
Yeah. You know what? You did a great job. You did a great job. Well done, sir. You did a good job because a lot of people fold under pressure. They fold under pressure. You, sir, did well. You know what? I think I'm going to put everybody through this gauntlet. Everybody on BF, I'm going to put them through the gauntlet and just blurt out a few things because sometimes when the bright lights are on, you start to.
I'll go back to AJ Klein and say redeemed himself.
Redeemed himself. I like that. I like that a lot. Now, we also have a segment before you get out of here called Say It With Your Chest. And the reason I'm going to bring this up is because you mentioned John Brown. And you said keep him. So you need to explain to me why you will keep a John Brown, and do you not see the value in guys like Gabriel Davis right behind him. And I just need to understand this $8 million that we have an opportunity to save, and you're telling me keep him. So I'm gonna give you about a minute to gather yourselves, and when you say what you say, now you have an opportunity. John Brown, you said to keep him. Why?
Keep him because, one, you could always restructure his contract.
You can't. You can't restructure. He's in his last year's contract.
Okay, fine. Then still, you keep him because for these reasons. Gabriel Davis was a great player as a rookie, but we saw what happened when John Brown went down. Gabriel Davis came in and stepped in and didn't have to be relied on as the main guy, even with John Brown out. You had Stephon Diggs still, you had Cole Beasley, and I like having insurance, especially on a team that is a pass-heavy offense like the Bills. I want my fourth and fifth receivers to be guys that I can rely on if other guys get in. And if I go a season with only Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis, and Cole Beasley as my top three receivers, I am very worried about the depth behind those guys. Regardless of whether you bring Isaiah McKenzie back or whether Isaiah Hodgins does anything, he hasn't proven anything yet. So I like the comfort of having those four guys, especially on an offense that we deployed last year, which was so pass heavy and so many 4 wide receiver sets. Keep John Brown.
Okay, I had to put you on the spot. I disagree, but I had to put you on the spot. Now, one thing I did like what you said though was you like having depth. You like having depth where one guy goes down, one guy can step up, and you don't have to miss a beat. I just don't like that $8 million tag. Now,
but think about it. Think about what you're getting collectively for the 8 plus whatever peanuts you're paying Gabriel Davis as a 5th rounder or whatever. The two of them collectively are worth the $8.5 million. No,
David. No,
yes,
let me tell you why.
Yes, they are.
So let me. If you're gonna bring John Brown back, you cannot bring John Brown back at $8 million and say, you know what, we had that mistake in Trent Murphy. He sat and collected dust on the inactive list. I can't see that happening again. Now, is it going to be the same with John Brown? No, but at $8 million, sorry, fam, can't do it. Now, if you want to bring him back, you have a conversation with him, like you had a conversation with Andre Roberts when we cut Andre Roberts and brought him back. So in what you
could also do this, which I'm a fan.
Let Brown go and cut and get Curtis Samuel, who brings versatility. You want to pay $30 million worth of receivers?
No, I'm saying if you cut John Brown, not like cut that $8 million and give Curtis Samuel 10 to 12 million. I'm fine with that.
I think he wants 14, but if we can get him to 10 to 12, sure thing. I can take that. I like what you went like, or we could do this. But the one thing that we can do with John Brown is to obviously cut him and then say, by the way, we're cutting you. We want you back. We just can't have you at $8 million. We're going to restructure something. Instead of giving you 8, maybe we'll give you 5. Something of that nature. That could potentially happen. Then it's a win-win for everyone in that situation. Now,
except for John Brown's bank account.
Except for John Brown's bank account. But John Brown, do you want to be on a team that contends and potentially goes to the Super Bowl, or do you want to go to the freaking Texans? Because they will probably pay you, but you ain't going to have nobody over there. All right? That's what I'm saying. But anyway, last question for you before I get out of here and you get out of here. I'm of the mindset, looking at our tight end position, I think we all know that our guy Dawson Knox can be a better tight end than he proved to us for his first 2 years. I am hard on Dawson Knox.
Yeah, we all are.
We all are. Now, do we give up on a Dawson Knox? No. He's too athletic to just say, you're out of here. However, Duke Williams, could we not convert? Yes. Let's talk about it.
No.
Why couldn't we convert him to a tight end 2 or a tight end whatever? Size-wise, he's a little undersized at 6'2", but he doesn't play like it. Give me a reason why, or two, or why you don't like it, because you shook your head like, oh God, here we go.
This is, I don't like this like back and forth, like gray area, like what are we going to do with the tight end room conversation. I want the Bills either to say, we're going with Dawson Knox as the tight end 1, and we're just going to bring in like veterans like Jared Cook or Manhurts, like Steve mentioned yesterday, to kind of help him out. bring him along and let Jared Cook be the veteran in the room who's played the position for years, been in multiple teams, been in multiple locker rooms, can be the downfield threat and take a little pressure off Dawson Knox. Or you go all out for a true tight end one, either through free agency with like a Jonnu Smith or Gerald Everett, or through the draft with a Freiermuth or a Brevin Jordan, and you say, Dawson Knox, you know what? We're going to continue to let you develop as the tight end 2, and we're going to actually bring in a legitimate tight end 1 to be in this team. If you put Duke Williams in the tight end room, what are you adding to the tight end room as far as value, as far as knowledge of the position, the ability to show that he can even play the position, blocking ability, 0. Like, I mean, I get it. He's a good blocking receiver, but is he going to be able to block as a tight end in line? I just don't see it as like a strategic move in the sense of like, it's going to add to your room a whole lot, other than it would be kind of like a nice athletic type that you could develop at tight end. But like, the fact of the matter is Duke hasn't been able to get out on the field in his natural position. So what makes us think he's going to get on the field as his unnatural position?
Because the guy that is playing at his natural position is ass and not playing well. That's why. Here's another one.
Well, that's why I want a legit tight end.
Hold on now. Let me keep going now, because you make a valid point. And this is why the back and forth is great. So Darren Waller, do you think he was a natural tight end? No.
I know he's a receiver.
He's a receiver turned tight end and killing the game. Right? Who was the Packers
I know.
tight end?
Logan Thomas was the quarterback.
Let's talk about Logan Thomas. Logan Thomas. I wasn't even going to bring Logan Thomas up, but let's talk about Logan Thomas. Logan Thomas is doing his damn thing, and he was quarterback. Yeah. So don't tell me that, inline blocking and this, that. You go from quarterback to all of a sudden you're blocking guys. Okay, I'm not trying to do that. Let me keep going, Tilt Money, right? Let me keep going. Furthermore, you get a guy that can get downfield. How many times did you see him practice getting downfield against guys like Trey White and beating him? So you don't think he can do that against a damn linebacker?
I'd rather have Jared Cook do that than Duke Williams.
The 36-year-old Jared Cook?
For 1 year, sure.
Why?
You think Duke Williams is a long-term answer for 5 years for this team at tight end?
If you have to figure it out. The same way that we thought that Jason Peters was a freaking tight end. Then we put him at left. Well, let's try you at right tackle and then left tackle. And now he's a future Hall of Famer. So we've got to experiment. If we just keep letting these guys go, like Logan Thomas is one of the better tight ends in the game because we let him go.
I'll concede this much. I am comfortable with experimenting, but I'm not comfortable with that experimenting being plan A. Like have it as like fair. Do that on the side over here, but all at the same time, you need to do something with the position.
I'm with you. If you go in and draft a guy like a Kyle Pitts, fam, I'm great with that. And then you let Duke Williams kind of fester around as tight end 3 or tight end 2. He takes over. Who knows? But I feel like before we move on from him, we've kept him this long. Mm-hmm. I thought he was good as gone last year. Oh man, we brought in two receivers in Davis and Hodges. Yo, he's as good as gone. They kept him around. So I'm thinking they kept him around for a reason.
Well, and also, I think the two kind of have to go together because, again, the tight end room is important. Like having a veteran in there who knows the position. Like we got to remember, Dawson Knox didn't play a ton of tight end either, right? As far as experience in college, like he didn't play a ton of games at tight end, and he didn't have a ton of action. So I'd rather, if you're going to do that experiment, the tight end room can't be just Dawson Knox, Duke Williams, and Tommy Sweeney and Reggie Gilliam. Like you need to have like a guy there who knows what he's doing. Like, and maybe that's Jared Cook for a year, and Jared Cook's the guy that mentors a Duke Williams because that's the type of tight end that he's likely to turn into if he actually turns into a decent tight end. It will be more of the Jared Cook type.
So you're open to it?
I'm open to it if the two kind of go together. It just can't be option A. It can't be option A.
Okay, no, I'm with you. We can both agree to that. So listen, that is our time, ladies and gentlemen. We had an impromptu guest in my guy Tilt Money. Tilt and I, we don't normally tilt heads and butt heads. Normally we're usually on the same page, but I like this back and forth. It was great. So listen, thank you for joining. I felt that this was a good dynamic.
I did kind of crash your show here, but
no, man. Listen, it's all good. These impromptus are great. I wanted to touch on running back, but I can always touch on running back on Friday night show because I love me talking some running backs. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is our show. I appreciate my guy Tilt Daddy Money coming through. He's a newly Papa Bear doing his thing. You look like a new dad now.
Yeah.
No
Like
hat,
losing my hair. I got no hat on. My background's not set up properly.
Don't even stress it, man. Don't even stress it. You were able to come out and show up, which we totally appreciate, and the love is shown back. So I appreciate your time, my guy. Ladies and gentlemen, that's our time. Tomorrow night it is Z-Bot with the smoke break. I'm not sure who his guest is going to be. Are you guest showing on Z-Bot tomorrow?
He asked me to, but I can't do it tomorrow.
Oh, you shunned the views.
Well, no, 4 days in a row for me. I don't think I could. I don't think I would have gotten away with it.
Let me tell you something. People don't realize that to go back to back to back. Like I went on Tuesday, then I did a show with somebody on a Wednesday, then I was on Thursday. I was on Friday, and then the Saturday show, and then back again. I give a lot of compliments to guys like Cowherds and the Jim Romans that just go every single day, man. It's craziness. But anyway, I appreciate your time. You're a good man, and we will definitely get back and see you guys on Thursday to talk some more draft stuff. So if you guys have any draft questions, Tilt Money is that dude, man. He's doing a lot of work in the background. You guys have no idea. He's putting some things together, and we cannot wait till free agency, and then the draft is around the corner. That is when we have the most fun. So until next time, folks, you guys have a great night. Dave, you have a fantastic night as well. And we will catch you on the flip side. You guys have a great night. And it's your boy. And I'm gone. Ladies and gentlemen, we are tuned in to the Rico Report.
I really don't know what to tell you.
That game was insane. Welcome to the Big Squad.
Shout out to the Big Squad.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Welcome to the Big Squad.
welcome on a very special evening to the Rico Report. We are here. He is our team. This is the Buffalo Fanatics. Bing, 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 bing.